Today we're going to explore an abandoned urban mountain bike park on the Surron. I have the Surron. We'll ride around in just a second and I'll show you a point of view of everything, every jump, every trail, every crazy wooden feature. This place has a lot packed into it. But first, I got to tell you why this place exists in the first place and why it's stuck here underneath the freeway. There's not a ton of information about this place online, but here's what I could find. In the early 2000s, this place under the freeway was essentially just like bushes and concrete. There was nothing going on over here. But then, sometime in 2007, a bunch of mountain bikers got together and got approval from the city to build essentially a small cross-country trail and a few skill features here and there. The whole idea behind building it under this bridge was so that they could ride during the rainy season here in Seattle, which is about 11 and a half months a year. That turned out to be actually a really popular idea. Riders actually started showing up. So in 2008, they commenced Phase 2. Phase 2 expanded what was a small trail system into 2 full acres of wildly varied mountain bike terrain, jump lines and skinnies and crazy wooden features, some incredibly terrifying roll-ins, a trials course, basically anything you could want to do on a mountain bike, you could do it here, protected from the rain. And it was right here in the middle of the city. This place was, as far as I can tell from my research, the very first urban mountain bike park of this type, at least in the US. And from its opening into like the early 2010s, this was a really special place for mountain bikers. Personal side note, I remember coming here on my 26-inch Diamondback hardtail as like an 11-year-old. This place was mind-blowing. It was like a real-life video game. It was like Tony Hawk Underground, but for mountain bikes. In its heyday, this place was literally a dream come true. Unfortunately, in the 15 or so years since then, the popularity of this place has waned, and the volunteers that normally keep it in good shape, they've moved on to other projects. At this point, it's essentially abandoned. Every once in a while, you will see a lone biker trying to enjoy this place, but unfortunately, the state of the obstacles makes that kind of difficult to do safely. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second. Some of them are kind of scary. Fewer riders led to less maintenance, and less maintenance led to fewer riders, and before you know it, the place is a ghost town. But I think that's where we come in. As you know, I have the Surron today, and I'm painfully aware that riding the Surron on mountain bike trails is like controversial at best. So it's always important to bring a shovel, fix up anything that you've ridden, and leave it better than you found it. And that's what gave me the big idea. Why don't we just take this place and like fix everything? Little by little, just video by video, fix this place up and make it rideable again. The bones are all here. The dirt's where it needs to be. All we gotta do is polish the turd. Maybe today's exploration can mark episode 1 of an ongoing series, bringing the abandoned mountain bike park back to life. I don't know, seems like a fun idea. Maybe worth subscribing for, I don't know. In the next episode, we'll actually start fixing it up, and I'll probably need your help deciding where to start, because there's a lot to do. But without further ado, let's hop on the Surron and go explore this place. Just a heads up, you can hear my Surron squeaking. That's the belt. I don't know what's going on. It's making a lot of noise. Ignore it. Okay, so starting out, we're up top. You can see we are above the freeway, essentially. That's an exit right there. You can see cars coming through. It really is right under a freeway. Now, this is the south end of the park. Let's explore around. This is more of the jump section, and you can see there are some dirt jumps over there. Those jumps have seen better days. It's muddy and it's gross, but I'm gonna try not to die. So, first couple jumps are pretty mellow, and you come down here, and now you got like 4 jump line options. Let's start on the lowest one. You can see just how like rutted out everything is. Even though it is protected from the rain, still pretty muddy. These jump lines get like progressively bigger, and they kind of culminate in literally this giant bridge. This is like full bike park feature. It looks like that's the case pad right about here, and everything is messed up. The rain has really taken a toll. Oh my god. So overwhelming. There's so much stuff. Okay, first on-foot exploration is what appears to be the world's sketchiest berm. Obviously, caution tape. This looks like it was kind of a one-way thing. Yeah, you can see this wooden feature up here. Oh my God, everything's so slippery. Oh God. Oh my God. Okay, I'm not going up there. Let's back climb a little bit. I guess from right here you can see this giant wooden feature spits you out. Huge berm. There's a smaller berm that kind of tucks inside it there. And man, look, this used to all be packed dirt. No longer. That dirt is long gone. This looks just terrifying. Look at that. Where are you even supposed to land? Since this obviously does not have a lift, they have this kind of central zone that's pretty easy. It's a pretty easy climb, pretty gradual. So mountain bikers come back up this way so they can get to the top of whatever feature line they're hitting at the time. You can see from this angle how many overlapping jump lines there are. Oh man. Everything's in terrible condition, but it's so exciting thinking about the opportunities, you know? This is the really steep climb all the way back up. I'm glad I have a Surron for this. Back up the top here, you can see this is kind of where we split into all the jump lines. Everything's so steep. Oh my God, it's like impossible to find a spot to put the bike. So you can see, like, even with all of these jump line options, you could hypothetically come over here, break that berm, and come down into, I swear, probably the most treacherous like bank line you can imagine. Everything is slippery, everything's beat up, but you can see you can really cruise down this. Like, if you had a really tight technical bike, this seems like a ton of fun. It just goes back and forth, and all the way down there at the end, you can kind of see there's like a tiny little tabletop jump. I've tried this on a Surron. I'm not gonna do it today. It's terrifying on a heavy bike, so sorry to disappoint. This, somewhat appropriately, is the old box, I think, where they keep tools to maintain the trails. I already reached out to the volunteers that initially built this place way back in the day. If they get back to me, maybe we'll get a key, maybe we'll be able to keep some tools here and do work that way. Okay, back up at the top here. Let's take another line and just kind of see what happens. So this looks like a pretty mellow line, right? I'm gonna case everything, by the way. But all of a sudden, oh my God, this landing right here, this is what I was talking about. Coming off of this and trying to land there and carry it through to that thing in its current state is just remarkably dangerous. Once that's working though, that berm is gonna be ridiculous. This, oh God, that is terrifying. When it's muddy here, there's no grip on anything. With summer coming up, I'm excited to have some good work days. There is a hose up there that works so we can keep the dirt moist. That's gonna be huge. This section over here is kind of tucked off in the corner, and you don't see it much. That roll-in is massive. Like, that looks like about a 50-degree angle of just pure concrete that shoots you down into this berm, which, surprise, surprise, is not in great shape. You come around here, and you got more options. There are 4 levels of drops into their own sets of berms, which we'll check out in a second. Those are pretty cool. And then this giant berm, I don't even know where that takes you. Like, it just kind of spits you out into the forest, I guess. These drops, the landing shouldn't be too bad to fix up, just like getting the leaves out of there, smoothing it out with a shovel. Like, I think that'll be okay. Those smaller ones should be even easier. But the flow of this section is kind of weird. It's like on this whole park, they just packed in as much as they possibly could. There are certain sections that just, you know, don't flow in the way you would expect. You look at this wall ride and you go, how the hell could you possibly get speed for this? Let's backtrack the trail that brings you into that. You can see this comes all the way up. That's the freeway right there. Like, literally, I can touch it. This is the roll-in I was talking about earlier. I hope you can kind of appreciate, given this angle, just how terrifying that is. If that's not quite terrifying enough for you, you also have this option, which is to descend the rockiest, most dusty line I think I've ever seen in my life. These things are like, this is like, how are you even supposed to make it over this? And then, of course, hey, why don't you carry enough speed to hit this wall ride and not just slip out? Let's call these lines the tech corner. because they're incredibly technical and they're shoved in a corner. So down here is that wooden feature we looked at the back of. This used to have a big lip up to it so you could carry a ton of speed down here and hop up onto that top. That has since been blocked off. I think it was probably a safety hazard. I totally get that. One thing I do want to mention before we go too much further, there are some folks living here. Like, this is a bridge that keeps people out of the rain, and it's really important to me that, like, as we're working on this and as we're trying to enjoy it, we don't disturb the people who need to survive. But there's plenty of other stuff to do, so I just wanted to put that out there. There are some folks living here, but we're not going to disturb them or anything like that. Last run from the top, let's check out the middle line, because that's the one that I think gets the sketchiest. Obviously, nothing's really in the condition to actually ride today, so... Whoa! This is by far the most treacherous line, so actually on second thought, maybe let's not hit it. You can see all of the water comes down. It makes everything muddy and super slick, so let's avoid that for now. Now that we've seen a couple of the jump lines, let's check out some of the craziest wood features, starting with the trial system. I don't even know like the route you're supposed to take, but it's awesome that they built this, because I feel like trials isn't a particularly popular sport within mountain biking, at least in terms of numbers of people that do it. If we go kind of the opposite way on the recce path we were looking at earlier, you can see all of these just absurd skinny lines. These wood features are like, what are you even supposed to, how are you even supposed to do that? That one is essentially vertical. Like, what the hell? You can tell that there was a lot of focus on like building technical skills as a mountain biker. Here is the bridge that we went over earlier. I believe when this was first built, they actually didn't have that bridge, and you just straight up had to clear this double. And if you didn't, you would hit that wall. This was all, of course, part of phase 2, so it was like serious mountain bikers building serious features. Let's get down to the bottom here and kind of exit out the opposite way that we did. You can see just how bad the water damage is, just on how rutted out the ground is there. It's so wet out, my grips are just throttling. Oh my god. Thank you. Now, to get back all the way to the top, you come through the center section. We've been over there, right? So let's really quickly check out what was phase 1, some of the more technical trails. Let's just take a look at them and see what we're working with. Coming out at the top of the other side. We were over there at the top, now we're over here at the top. Caution, mountain biking is an inherently dangerous sport. Always wear a helmet, full face helmet, and body armor, highly recommended. So here are some of the kind of cross-country technical trail things. Oh my god, how are we gonna make it around this thing? Oh. Oh my god. Oh, this whole trail just zigzags back and forth. Tons of rocks, tons of drops. This is a little bit tricky to do. You can see you can see all of the bottom bracket marks from people trying to get up this and scraping going over that rock. Let's just rely on our... Oh god. Oh shit. I was about to say rely on our full suspension. I just bottomed out so bad. Oh, look at that palm tree. You can see over here, the trails just keep going. There are literally almost endless options. And of course, on a Surron, you don't need to climb back up, which is cool. Down here at the bottom are kind of more beginner obstacles. There's so much to explore in this place. See kind of this cool pump track thing. Actually, let's hit that. Oh my god.
It's been a couple weeks since I filmed that last clip, and you can tell how much time has passed because now I have a mustache. I'm cutting in here because I have some very exciting news. I just got an email back from the Trails Program Manager at Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance. I basically wanted to ask if it was okay if we worked on the trails. I wanted to get clearance so I wasn't stepping on anyone's toes. He just emailed me back and said, "Thanks for your interest in the Colonnade. We're about to finish design work for a new paved pump track, and we are excited to get building." This is huge. This is like the first official push, I think, since like 2012 or something. He also told me right now there's no official build groups going on, but there is a Facebook group called Rebuild the Nade. I'll have that link down below. I looked for Facebook groups like this, but I couldn't find it just because of the name. But it has 916 members. It's relatively active. People are working on things here and there. They're trying to get excited. There is a community push behind this. Like, you know, obviously we're not the only ones, but it's exciting to actually find the source of these people. So going forward, I will obviously default to these people. They're the mountain bikers that build the park, and I'll do my best to link up with them for future videos. We have the clearance to go and try to fix up the trails. I think it's kind of an all hands on deck community thing. I just wanted to put this part in the video because while yes, right now the Colonnade is kind of abandoned, no one rides it and not many people work on it, there's a big group of people out there that want to. That's huge. If you're in the Seattle area and you want to get involved, I'll have the links down below. And in the next Colonnade video, we'll hopefully start doing some trail work and fixing some things up. I hope you enjoyed today's exploration. I know I didn't capture all of it. It's huge. So in the next few videos, hopefully you'll get a better sense of kind of the layout of the place. Anyway, that's it for today's video. If you like the video, make sure to like the video. If you really like the video, make sure to subscribe and make a new video whenever I can. Thank you so much for spending your time watching this video, and I will see you next time. Peace.